Hello everyone, you welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Barbara Jonathan. In our top stories tonight, a former Bar Council President, Barrister Yondo Black, says time for reawakening has come in the Republic of Cameroon and that no one will be allowed to steal the victory of Professor Maurice Kamto. He was speaking in a press conference today here in the economic capital, Douala, and Sisiku Ayuktabe and the other leaders of the interim Ambazonian government arrested in the Federal Republic of Nigeria and brought back to the Republic of Cameroon, where they are being detained, are yet to appear in court. The case was on the judicial bench today. Stay with us. All efforts to prevent the holding of the press conference of former Cameroon Bar Council President Barrister Yondo Black today by security officials did not work. The legal mind finally granted his press conference at the residence of Albert Nzongang, a well-known political figure in the Republic of Cameroon who recently joined the ranks of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, that is the CRM political party. And of course the press conference took place and he declared that the time for reawakening has come and that the victory of Professor Maurice Kamto at the 7th of October 2018 presidential election in Cameroon cannot be stolen and must not be allowed to be stolen by whosoever. He, however, called for all to wait for the verdict of the ballot box, that is the proclamation of official result of the presidential election by the Constitutional Council. We have details in this report. Police officers dispatched to interrupt a press conference already at its tail end. Former Bar Council President Barrister Yondo Black's press conference was initially scheduled for his residence in Accra, but because of heavy deployment of police and gendarme officers around the venue, it was discreetly moved to Albert Nzongang's house. Before the police interruption, Barrister Yondo Black delivered a statement highlighting the political outing of Professor Maurice Kamto, presidential candidate of the CRM, as an eye-opener. Following the press conference of Professor Maurice Kamto, who said he shot the penalty and scored the goal, veils have fallen off.
Les masques sont tombés.
Referring to reactions of government and Cameroon People's Democratic Movement (CPDM) officials to Professor Maurice Kamto's press statement, Barrister Yondo Black condemns what he terms manipulation. He also decries the issue of fake Transparency International election observers who spoke to the press shortly after the closure of polling stations.
Peut-on expliquer pourquoi on fait venir des repris de justice?
Can we explain why convicts from friendly countries are invited to usurp the name of an international non-governmental organization? This does not honor our country. All these manipulations have one objective: to orchestrate disorder, destruction, and chaos and attribute them to Professor Maurice Kamto in order to deprive him of his victory.
Dans le seul but de le priver de sa victoire.
Barrister Yondo Black attributes all these to the fear of being defeated.
C'est bien la vérité des urnes qui importe.
Above all, it is the truth of the ballot box that matters most, and that is the problem. At a time when fear has changed side, the fever in the camp of the outgoing president suggests there is danger.
Laisse penser qu'il y a péril à la demeure.
CRM officials and Barrister Yondo Black have dismissed the violence and destructive twist given to Professor Maurice Kamto's press statement.
Nous n'avons demandé à personne.
We have asked Albert Zongang speaking there at the end of that report, emphasizing that the CRM political party and of course its leader, Professor Maurice Kamto, have never asked anybody to do whatsoever that will disturb or bring trouble in the country. And of course, we'll be bringing you updates as far as that is concerned and the presidential election as the nation and the international community wait for the publication of results of Sunday's presidential election in Cameroon by the body, the organ in charge of publication of the results, that is the Constitutional Council, which has a deadline of 15 days. Now we talk about the leaders of the Anglophone struggle, so to speak, talking about Sisiku Ayuktabe and his collaborators who were arrested in the Federal Republic of Nigeria and brought back into the country and detained at the State Defense Secretariat in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. They are due to appear before judges, and their lawyers have been mounting pressure to ensure that they are brought to a trial. But this is yet a thing of the future. The matter was on the table of the judiciary today in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. The lawyers were at the appeal court of the Central Region, and this is what came out of that court session in this extract of Barrister Christopher Ndong, one of the lawyers of the detainees. He spoke to us on phone from Yaoundé.
Of today's court session at the appeal court in Yaoundé.
Yes. When we came at 10 o'clock, we went in and met the judge in charge to inform him that we are there ready for the matter at 11. She duly informed us that they have a meeting, grouping magistrates of the High Appeal Court. So they went in for the meeting. Not more than 10 minutes, they came out, called us, and we entered the court to start the matter in her chamber. So we raised the issue of the non-appearance of our clients who are the accused persons, and that was the reason why we adjourned the matter. And so they should bring the body before we commence the matter. Now, pay. Come on. Pay. Hello?
Yes,
Yes. Then now we raise the issue that we cannot go ahead with the matter without the accused persons present, because habeas corpus means bring the body. And that is what we have been thinking since the High Court to the Appeal Court. And the matter was adjourned to this date because we wanted the Ayuk, Abe, Julius, and the others to be present. So we asked the court to find out why they didn't bring them. The legal department showed a document that he had prepared with a production warrant. The production warrant was issued to Seth. Seth has not brought the people, he does not know. And at the time we were talking to take a new date for them to produce the people, the colonel of Seth entered the courtroom and said he's sorry, it's only this morning they told him, and it requires some formalities to be fulfilled, then people can be brought out, and that he has come to plead that they should adjourn it in the next court session. They will permit him now to do all of that preparation and then get the people to court. So the matter was adjourned to the 1st of November 2018 to bring the body, that is Ayuk Dabe Julius and 9 others. That's what happened in court today.
Thanks a lot, Barrister.
Now we move over to Kumba, chief town of the Meme division in the crisis-stricken southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. Information streaming into our newsroom indicates that things are gradually returning to normalcy in that part of the southwest region after Monday's Operation Ghost Town. We have details in this report compiled by Smart Jikan Gabriel.
After the lockdown that characterized the town of Kumba Monday, a day after the presidential elections, without vehicles moving and business places locked, life seems to be gradually returning to the chief town of Meme division. Vehicles can now be seen plying the roads. and the Kumba main market that remained locked, now busy. Unfortunately, even as life returns to the town, K-Town is now a shadow of itself, with dirt littered around major streets. In front of the Kumba main market, for instance, business persons are frightened with the amount of dirt packed in front of the market. Meanwhile, at the Anglican Junction, it is also the same story, as an inhabitant blames the company in charge of garbage disposal to be at the origin. Since we began living here, we've not seen such amount of dirt. It's getting to 3 months that this dirt has been here. Because of it, mosquitoes have invaded our houses, giving our children sleepless nights. As the inhabitants hope that the dirt will be removed, it should be noted that the company in charge of removing dirt has also been a victim of the ongoing Anglophone crisis in Kumba, with its vehicles burnt.
Cameroon joined the rest of the world today to commemorate the 2018 edition of World Sight Day under the theme Eye Care Everywhere. The day is marked by free eye consultations in specialized hospitals in Douala. It was an opportunity for doctors to diagnose new cases of eye infections and diseases. Let's now listen to Dr. Agbo Alice and Dr. Fru Ellison, who are talking about the celebration of the 2018 World Sight Day and, of course, sight infections and diseases.
For the World Sight Day is still universal eye health as the past years, but the call to action for this year is eye care everywhere. And to commemorate this activity, we have tried to take eye care out of the hospital by engaging in free screening in schools and companies. And most importantly is the fact that we have also discovered patients that have been blind in one eye, but because they have not felt any pain, they were not able to come to the hospital. So this awareness that we have created through this World Sight Day has had great impact on the population.
The situation, I've seen a few cases of glaucoma, one of the largest cause of irreversible blindness. But for my case, I've seen a few cases of glaucoma, a few cases of cataract, and many cases of refractive error, which are the main causes of blindness and visual impairment around the world. A lot of people sit in the community at home. They don't know whether they have problems or not. So we give them that opportunity to come and get their eyes checked to see whether they have problems or not, so that the number of people that are blind around the world because of avoidable causes of blindness can be reduced.
That those were doctors talking there on the celebration of the World Sight Day in the economic capital Douala, and of course eye diseases. And now we move on to something else. Efforts are on the way to enhance science and development through mathematics. It is for this purpose that mathematicians are training 70 Africans and Europeans in mathematics. Innocent as a report.
Some experts in maths say lack of mathematics knowledge by most people in Cameroon, Africa at large, and some countries of the world hampers their development. To them, mathematics nurtures certain qualities like creativity, power of reasoning, abstract or spatial thinking, problem-solving ability, effective communication skills, and critical thinking, all which enhance science and development.
Is a tool for development, and that's one of the well-paid jobs nowadays in the world. It's strongly connected to the economy and it helps to push the economy. If you want to be able to predict economic development, you need to develop mathematical models to, for example, predict the influence of some policy in the economy. If you want to know the quantity of minerals in the soil here, you will not be able to dig all the soil to go and measure. But there are some techniques with means of numerical analysis where you can deduce the quantity of mineral just by solving some partial differential equations.
Instead, learners hate this mathematics as it concerns collection of symbols than digits.
You mention mathematics to a parent, they say XYZ. Even to journalists, they will say, "Ooh, XYZ." For them, mathematics is a collection of symbols with no meaning. While in practice, mathematics can be defined as the human activity, the toolbox containing solution for our daily life problem.
A workshop co-organized in Douala aims at molding a sufficient number of qualified lecturers in mathematics in Cameroon, Africa, and the world.
This workshop is organized by the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences in collaboration with the University of Kassel, with the funding from the Volkswagen Foundation. It is in the domain of orthogonal polynomials and application, which is one of the research domains in mathematics, quite important because of its application. And the main objective of the workshop was to discuss the recent development in the domain of orthogonal polynomials, to bring leading experts from all over the world to come and interact with the African colleagues and African students for capacity building to happen, and also for the networking between Cameroonian, African, and world leading and African to happen.
About 65 participants drawn from 18 African countries attended the workshop, including 9 from Europe. Vision of this initiative is to lead the transformation of Africa through innovative scientific training, technical advances, and breakthrough discoveries which benefit the whole society. Its mission is to enable Africa's brightest students flourish as independent thinkers, problem solvers, and innovators capable of propelling Africa's future scientific, educational, and economic self-sufficiency.
One of the facilitators at the training workshop taking place in Cameroon's economic capital, Dr. Wuham Kwef, urged women to join and get more interested in this subject, mathematics, which is up to now dominated by men. It was in this extract.
In some countries, it is quite different. We are encouraging women to do mathematics. At high school, typically, if I speak about Germany, they are even the better mathematicians, but then they stop. And in my opinion, it is very important that we have a balance between the genders, because in the real work as a mathematician, you don't do exactly what you did as a student, but you really have to solve real problems. Women can do a big job, and they should. It seems to be a difficult task. Mathematics is a hard work, and some women might not succeed, although this is not true. From what we know, we have a lot of women also who are doing mathematics. When they do their decision, they typically decide upon other subjects to study from these reasons. We try to get them the opportunity to learn more and to succeed more.
The College of Conveners of the Anglophone General Conference, established on the 25th of July 2018, held its fourth meeting in Douala today, and Thursday, 11th of October 2018, chaired by His Excellency Christian Cardinal Tumi, Archbishop Emeritus of the Douala Metropolitan Archdiocese, and the meeting focused on the state of preparation for the Anglophone General Conference that is scheduled to hold in Boya, Southwest Region on the 21st and 22nd of November 2018. Participants also used this opportunity to examine relevant aspects of the political, social, economic, and security situation prevailing in the country in general and in the Northwest and Southwest Northwest regions in particular. And the College of Conveners notes with deep satisfaction the excellent progress achieved so far in preparation for this forthcoming Anglophone General Conference, as reported by the coordinator of the conference organizing committee and the chairperson of the sixth subcommittees planning, that is the 6 subcommittees, and of course the planning committee, logistics, budget and funding, communication, mobilization, security and conference secretariat. The conveners approved the budget estimated for the conference, which stands at 32,346,800 francs CFA, and of course authorized the conference organizing committee to commence fundraising to finance this budget. The conveners also adopt the Anglophone General Conference concept note submitted by the conference organizing committee and authorize its immediate release for the information of the general public. The College of Conveners reiterates the that is the character, that is the ecumenical character and political neutrality of the Anglophone General Conference initiative. It wishes to stress that its promoters are driven solely by their desire to see an end to the multitude of suffering of all types that the Anglophone crisis is causing to the affected population of the southwest and northwest regions, and whose impact is now beginning to be felt seriously in other regions of the country. Now we go out of Cameroon to talk about the number of migrants from Africa and other parts of the world that continues rising in Europe. UN Special Representative Louise Arbour talks on migration and climate change and why Europe must open its doors to legal migrants for its labor market.
There are over 250 million migrants around the world living outside their country of birth, and this figure is expected to grow. The debate over migration in Europe remains divisive. We spoke to the UN Special Representative for Migration about the EU's choices.
Europe, now and even more so in the decades to come, will have a self-interest in opening up legal pathways to its labor market, because it's very clear that Europe, to different extent in different European countries, but across the board, will have a very severe deficit of human resources in the years to come.
Far from being a burden, the UN highlights the contribution of migrants to the economy.
The picture of who are migrants, I think, is very misunderstood. They contribute. Migrants spend 85% of their income. They usually earn less than native workers. That's unfortunate, but to be expected. They spend 85% of their income in the host community, and they send 15% back home. This 15% in 2017 was $600 billion. This is 3 times more than the official development aid that rich countries send to the developing world.
With the warnings from the UN's recent report on climate change, Louise Arbour stresses that forced displacement is clearly linked to global warming.
In the area of climate change, the question is it 5 minutes to midnight or 1 minute to midnight? I think scientists fortunately tell us we shouldn't give up because it's not quite too late, but it's late enough that I think the kind of mobilization we need, which will have an enormous impact also on migration, is this process has to start right now.
And that is it for this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Thanks for staying with us.